So this time of year, everyone is talking about goals this and goals that, and it's the common messaging every January. And it kind of turns me off a little bit because people talk about setting goals, the importance of setting goals. Everyone knows that, but no one's really talking about how to actually achieve your goals. So today I want to give you 3 steps, 3 tips to actually be able to achieve your goals so you can have a great 2022. Let's dive in. All right, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. Happy 2022. I can't believe I'm saying that. It kind of sounds weird to say it. It feels like we just stepped into 2021 and now it's already over in the blink of an eye. Today is a special episode. If you guys don't know, today is number 100 of the Handmade and Beyond podcast, not including the Friday podcast that I do from time to time just to spice things up and change things up a little bit for you guys. But I'm so fortunate for you listeners, for the people that have embraced Handmade and Beyond, for the support, the kind words, the encouragement along the way. I really appreciate you guys. And if me doing this can impact your business and your life in even the smallest way possible, that makes me happy, and that helps me keep going so that I can help you guys out, give you motivation, give you support that you guys need to continue going down the road of business, small business, handmade, Etsy, all that stuff. And hopefully you guys can continue to do what you love, continue to create, continue to build thriving businesses, and also build thriving lives as well. So I'm happy to continue to do this. So on to the next 100, 200 episodes. I have no plans to stop. I have lots of plans for things I want to do in the future. I just am kind of limited on time, which is always the battle, right? It's like I have 1,000 things that I want to do, but only so many hours in the day, so I have to pick the most impactful things to bring to you guys. And with that being said, I feel it's super important to talk about goal setting today. And I know a lot of people roll their eyes when it comes to goals because it's been thrown around so much, been talked about so much, and everyone has a love-hate relationship with goals. Most of us have set goals. Most of us have set many goals, but not a lot of people have actually achieved those goals. A lot of people fail when it comes to goals, especially at this time of year. It's very familiar. You set that the weight loss goal, and by February you're off the wagon already. And the reason being, there's several reasons that people fall off the wagon and don't stick to their goals, and that's what I want to kind of chip away at today. And give you the actual process, the 3 steps to be able to achieve your goals, because there's a lot of foundational problems when it comes to goals and setting goals that people get wrong, and that's why we never ever achieve your goals. And it's a lesson that I've learned many, many times, and I've been fortunate enough to get significant training on this in my past life, in the corporate world, that really kind of helped me get a handle on goals and why it is that so many people miss their goals, and why it is that so many people set goals that they really are never ever going to hit. And that's what I want to talk about to help you guys so you can have a strong 2022 this year, so you can actually set goals that you can crush, that you can dominate, that you can achieve, and have an amazing year. And that's what this episode is all about for you guys. So like I said, today I want to talk about 3 steps, give you 3 steps that you can take starting this week, starting today, to actually achieve your goals. What's even better is I'm going to give you a free goal setting worksheet to help you guys out as well. It's going to break down all this information that I'm giving you. It's going to give you some great examples, some actionable steps that you guys can take, that you can write on the worksheet, have a guide to follow. So that complements this episode as well. And you guys can get that at handmadeandbeyond.com/goals. Go there right now. You guys can download it, or after this episode. Listen to the episode first. It'll make a little bit more sense. But definitely get that, guys. Download it. It's free PDF download. You can get started on this today. All right, so let's dive into step one. And really the first step when it comes down to goals is it must be obtainable. And it must have a relatively short period of time. A lot of people get this wrong out of the gate. It's good to have huge, enormous, crazy goals, but in order to make progress, you need to break them down into what I like to call a narrowed goal, which is a more obtainable goal. And if you meet these narrowed goals over time, you're going to get that big, enormous goal. You're going to be able to achieve that. But you can't go out of the gate trying to chip away at this enormous goal without having a strategic focus, without narrowing that down into bite-sized chunks. You don't go to a McDonald's and shove an entire Big Mac in your mouth. You have to take one bite at a time, and that's where narrow goal comes into play, where you're going to chip away at your huge goal and be able to actually achieve your huge goal over time. But you need to start with that bite-sized chunk at first. So examples of huge, enormous goals would be like retiring, from your full-time job, or buying a new house, or taking that bucket list vacation. They're good goals to have, but honestly, they're too big and they are too broad to be able to hit coming out of the gates. Where do you even start with something like that? And that's what throws a lot of people off. They set those goals, they don't even know where to start, and then become sooner rather than later, it becomes a pipe dream, and they're never ever going to hit those goals. Along the same lines of those huge goals is another problem is goals that have a big time frame attached to them. So maybe it's a goal that you want to achieve in 5 years or 10 years. Those goals are good as well, but that's just too much time. You need to narrow that down into something that you can complete and work towards in the next 6 months to a year, and take those small chunks, which in return will get you to that 5-year goal, or it'll get you to that enormous goal over time. But coming out of the gate, starting off with that, it's a quick way to lose momentum very, very fast, because a lot of people have a hard time, really anyone has a hard time knowing what steps to take to even get close to that huge goal. So you got to take a step back, narrow that down, shorten the time frame, and those goals, when achieved over time, will get you closer and closer and closer to that big goal, that lofty goal. So keep that in mind when setting your goal. Start off, write those big goals out, those huge goals out, but then take a step back, and how can you break those into smaller goals? And you want to break it into one smaller goal, and that's the goal that you're going to run with. That's the goal that you are going to work towards for the next however many months that you guys set. So start there. That'll help you have the right mindset and give you the right footing, so you're coming out of the gate strong, coming out of the gate with the right expectations. All right, step 2 is probably the thing that most people get wrong. This is the number one reason that people never ever hit their goals. And we see it all the time. And if you think about it, you see it all the time as well. Your goal needs to be specific. Most people's goals are too broad. And I kind of touched on it with step 1. But your goal, if it's too broad, you don't know what you're shooting for. You don't play darts without having a dartboard, without having a bullseye. You need to know where that bullseye is. You need to know what criteria your goal is setting for you to be able to hit and be able to work towards. So a lot of people will set something that's super broad. Around this time of year, it's I want to lose weight, or I want to make more money, or I want to give up alcohol. Stuff like that. Okay, those are a good foundational goal, but they are very, very broad. They are not specific. You need to make sure that you are having a specific goal. So you need to introduce elements to make it more specific. think about it like this. If you are meeting someone for dinner and you tell them, hey, let's meet for dinner, and that's it, you just leave it there. Are they going to show up for dinner? No, not unless they're stalking you or something like that, because they don't know what day, what time, what place that they're supposed to meet you for dinner. So that's the same when you have to look at your goals. It has to be specific. It has to have a start time. It has to have an end date. And then it has to have a specific metric that you're shooting for. That way you know, okay, I know I'm starting on this date. I know I have until this date, this end date. And then I know what specific metric that I need to hit in order to have achieved that goal. You can't leave it open-ended, and you can't give yourself, something that's not specific as far as a metric to hit. It's kind of like if you give, it's the old adage, whereas if you give someone a month to clean their house, it's going to take them a month to clean their house. If you give someone a week to clean their house, it's going to take them a week to clean the house. So you have to give that specific time frame, and then people will work within that and be able to manage that time better, but also manage it more effectively and more efficiently. And that's why you want to give yourself a specific time frame, and not give yourself something lofty like, oh, I want to do this in 5 years. Well, chances are, if you do stick to it, it's going to take you 5 years. But if you give yourself a year or 6 months, chances are you're going to make a lot more headway with that. But if you don't give yourself a time frame at all, I want to do this at some point in the future, chances are you're never going to do this at some point in the future. We've all had those projects, those house projects where it's like, I want to build a new she shed, or I want to build something new, or I want to do this. And those things are probably still sitting on the back burner, not being done. So goals kind of work the same way. The human brain likes that structure, so you have to feed it and give it that structure. So kind of along the weight loss example, if you want to lose weight, well, okay, that's good, but you need to specify how much weight. All right, so I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, great. So when am I starting this goal? Okay, I'm going to start the goal today. All right, cool. I know I want to lose 10 pounds. All right, what's the end date? All right, I'm going to give myself till April 1st. So I now know that I'm starting today, and by April 1st, I need to have lost 10 pounds. It's black and white. We know by April 1st, you can step on that scale. You either lost 10 pounds or you didn't lose 10 pounds. It's not open-ended. You're giving yourself a specific metric. It's not lose some weight. It's a very specific number. On that date, you either won or you lost. You either met your goal or you did not meet your goal. That is really key. So think about, once you narrow down your goal, think about what specific time frame and metric that you guys are going to hit, and that is what you need to work towards for the next however many months that you give yourself. And granted, it has to be reasonable, right? You're going to break out your goal, but you have to be reasonable with it. It can be lofty, it can be challenging, and it should be, but it has to be something that you can actually hit in that time frame. If it's something that, if you've never made $10,000 in a 3-month period, the most you made is $100. Well, telling yourself that you need to make $10,000 in a 3-month period is not an obtainable goal. So look at it that way. Set something that's a little bit more attainable for you, depending on what metric that you guys want to hit in the time frame that you want to hit it. Again, I would recommend giving yourself a time frame of 3 to 6 months as opposed to any longer than that, because that will enable you to stay on track, and it will enable you to pivot if you need to tweak something or something's off. So think about it that way, but very, very important that you guys make that goal specific so you know the bullseye, you guys know what you're shooting for. All right, so step 3. So if what I talked about in steps 1 and 2 were really important to your success, step 3 is going to be the rocket fuel that enables you to crush your goal, that enables you to land on Mars. This is vital, and this is something that most people miss. So step 3 is all about creating 1 to 2 daily action items that will drive your goal, that will help you get to your goal. These are things that you hypothesize will help you get to your goal over time. And hypothesis is just an educated guess, so it's things that you don't know for sure, but you think that these things will drive your goal. You think that these things will help you get closer to your goal if you're completing them a couple of times a week or every day, depending on what you decide your action items are going to be. So you have to sit back, write down some things. So you have your goal, right? You should have your goal written out. Sit down and write 3 to 4 action items that if you complete a couple times a week or every day, you think they'll probably get you closer to your goal. They'll help you make progress to your goal. A good example of this is, with the examples that we're talking about already with weight loss, since everyone has probably done it or tried it, as we get older, our metabolism slows down unless you're a freak of nature and that doesn't happen. And then we start to really think about, okay, how am I going to keep this weight off, or how am I going to lose those few extra pounds from the holidays? So if your goal is to lose that 10 pounds by April 1st, okay, you can't just say that and set it and forget it and do nothing. We know that we're going to have to take some steps, some actions to be able to lose that weight. Because setting goal is just not enough, and that's where a lot of people make the mistake. They'll set that goal, then they do nothing to take action towards that goal, and obviously you're not going to hit it if you don't take action. So you have to step back and think, okay, what are the top things that I can do, take action on each and every day or week that will help me get to that goal. With weight loss, we know, okay, working out usually will help us lose weight. So maybe the action item is going to be to work out 5 times a week, every single week for at least 30 minutes. That, if we do consistently, will probably help us lose weight. Another example with weight loss is, say you only want to eat 2,000 calories a day, 7 days a week. Generally speaking, without any, health problems, if you are monitoring your calories, your calorie intake, you can usually lose weight. Granted, I'm not a health expert, but that is just, common knowledge. So don't write me any messages about how I'm wrong, because that is just an example. All right. And the other key too with these action items, guys, just like your goal, the key to success with your goal is being specific. So are your action items. You notice I didn't just say work out every week. I didn't just say eat less calories every week. I made them specific. How many times, on what days, what are the metrics? What's the time frame, and what's the actual number? I know 5 times a week, every single week for at least 30 minutes. That is what I'm working out. Or 2,000 calories a day, every single day. Those are the 2 action items. Now, when you're coming up with your list, maybe you want to write out 3 to 4, but then you're only going to pick 1 or 2 action items that you're going to complete each and every week. If you try to do all the things, you're going to do none of the things. That is another thing that is important. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have other things to do in your business. But these action items, are directly tied to your goal. You need to, above anything else, make sure that you are completing these action items each and every week. And the other key to success with this is making sure that you're tracking this. Have some type of calendar, have a spreadsheet, track whether you are completing these and when you complete these. The human brain loves it when you track stuff and mark stuff off. That's why if you have a to-do list and you actually go and you check things off, you either won or lost. You did those things or you didn't do those things. The same thing applies with the action items. Did you do these things or didn't you do these things? That when the week is over, did you do it or didn't you do it? Or did you only do it a couple of times? Okay, you need to do the things the majority of the time. Yes, of course, you can miss a day here and there, but the key with this is about consistency. You will get closer to your goal the more consistent that you are with completing action items that are tied to your goal. If you're not consistent, if you're all over the place, you're never going to get to where you want to be. If you're working out one day a week, and then the next week is 5 days, and the next day is 2 days, and the next day is no days, there's absolutely no consistency in there. You're probably not going to, your weight may change here and there. It may fluctuate a little bit, but you're never going to get to your goal by being inconsistent. So you need to train your brain to build that habit. That's really what it's about, and be consistent with it. So that's it, guys. Those are the 3 steps to be able to achieve your goals. They are relatively simple, but they are not easy in the fact that you have to stick to this stuff to be able to see success, be able to get to your goal. The other thing about this too, guys, is you may not hit the nail on the head the first go around. Your goal may be off, your action items may be off, but this is a process and a strategy that you guys can get better at over time, that you can help refine it over time. If you have the structure in place, you can continue to do this and continue to get better at it, not only in your business, but in your personal life as well. This is a very, very good structure to have, and a very, very good way to be able to set and achieve your goals over time if you're breaking things down this way, if you're monitoring and tracking things this way. Don't forget to get that free guide. It'll break this down further and give you guys more examples on goals, on action items. There's detailed instructions in there, detailed steps that you guys can take to help set this stuff up so that you can follow it for the next however many months, crush and dominate your goals. But you guys can get that the goal worksheet at handmadeandbeyond.com/goals. Download it. Start today, guys. I want you to be able to achieve your goals this year. It's going to be a big year. But most important, don't give up. Continue to move forward. Continue to learn. You can never fail if you never give up. So never forget that, guys. But I'll be back next week with another awesome episode for you guys. Happy New Year. Have an amazing rest of your day.